One semi-final done and another to enjoy. Who will join Envious in the grand final of the North American Overwatch Open numero uno? Don't know why I'm doing some multilingual stream. Fortunately, I'm your host, Alex Machine Richardson. I'm making very little sense, but people that will make more sense are the people joining me on this fine desk. He's made himself clear already. I'm going to do the same to you. I've got Dan, K. Capadia, and I've got myself, Jonasaur. Jorasar, your name.
We're getting there. Don't worry.
So hard. John Sargent, though, is joining me. Good to have you here,
like
boys
Jonasaur.
and girls.
Can we continue to call him Jonasaur? I think that's fantastic.
Jonasaur.
I feel like we could brainstorm his name better. It's the Jonasaur.
We're getting very close to Pokemon territory.
We are. You're right. I mean, you kind of started that with your SAR ending, but all the same,
True.
it is going to be Cloud9 versus TSM. Just to bring us straight back onto topic, and two North American figureheads who have had, I mean, small tests so far. C9 besting one shot was a test in itself. Now, though, the semi-final where you get down to the nitty-gritty Overwatch. We've seen already where Envious just kind of walked through their previous semi-final. It did not look too challenging for them, just thrusting Luminosity by the wayside. And now we have an opportunity to see if we get a bit of a closer affair, John. Is it safe to assume this one could be a little bit more back and forth?
It's definitely safe to assume it will be closer. Whether or not that's close enough to make it a 2-1 remains to be seen. Cloud9 and TSM, both incredibly strong, but we haven't seen that much of their play as anyone, I suppose, in the current meta. So it's really going to come down to which individual players have actually gone ahead and taken the bull by the horns and been really capable of boosting their level of play on these specific heroes that are currently doing very well.
Yeah, and I think we want to take the opportunity because you know what, viewers come and they go. To actually outline what this meta has been. Dan, you've been casting an awful lot. What have we been seeing predominantly coming into these, with the quarterfinals yesterday, the semifinals today?
Well, I think it's something that actually John outlined a lot yesterday is a lot of the Zenji combinations coming in.
Shut up with your Zenji.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
Genyata. You love it, really, don't you?
I love it, I do.
You're a commentator, you understand.
I love a good pun.
The pun is, that's all we have. That's all we have to amuse
It's a
ourselves with.
portmanteau.
Don't they say like pun is like the worst
I'm not
form
sure
of
that's
comedy?
true.
First one with what, sorry?
Isn't it like one of the easiest or cheapest forms of comedy? I think there's a
Maybe.
line out there.
Slapstick? Just someone, stepping on a rake,
I think
falling
we
over?
could look into slapstick, but for now though, we'll
Is it
stick to
Sarcasm's the
Zenji.
lowest form of wit. There's that one as well.
That's a good one as well.
Yep, nice.
Yep.
Strong.
Very good.
We're making very little sense, but let's talk about this a little more. So Zenji, yes, this is
Yeah.
because of the changes to Zenyatta. Just to outline some of them to you guys at home, they increased his health pool a little bit and the level of his shield as well, meaning he no longer falls foul to that one shot from the Widowmaker. Of course, Widow did undergo some changes as well. Speed as well, that Transcendence just got better.
Yeah.
Giving his teammates that speed boost, which actually does make a heap of difference. You combine that with a Lucio speed boost, all of a sudden your team are just... I mean, did you see the combination where you have a Death Blossom and a ult on a Reaper onto the Death Blossom,
It's disgusting.
followed by a Lucio speed boost, and you just like let it rip. It's like a Beyblade, and they just go spinning straight
Oh,
through. It's
Beyblade.
really cool.
Oh my god. You are you're
right?
very young, actually. How do you know about Beyblades?
Yes, I do. Do you remember, right? Beyblades, they used to have these arenas that you just spend like £30 for a plastic dome. I don't know. Us kids, we were fickle fools. We were.
That makes you younger than me. I thought they cost like a tenner.
They were expensive at my point. I think, as you know, innovative children are, I think we flipped bin lids upside down. That's what we
Nicely
did.
done.
Yeah.
And we had to like sculpt a carrot to spin it in the middle.
Why is there a carrot?
We couldn't afford tops.
Oh, okay.
We had like an odd-shaped turnip that wasn't going in the stew that
Oh,
evening.
This is pretty good.
Yeah.
It was good. Yeah, we
know
are
about these
talking about
tricks.
Overwatch, though.
Yeah.
That was what we were trying
Yes.
to talk about.
Back into the discussion, we're talking about Zenji, right?
Yeah.
One of the follow-ups there, which we've been enjoying as well, is just because again, with the Zenji, you get to go straight in there, straight into the action, instead of playing the lurk role as much as you would normally see.
Sure.
But it allows, of course, McCree to take full reign, and with McCree buff, that's been really fun to see because some of the amazing McCrees that have that amazing accuracy, because it's not all about finding the hammer anymore. It's more about the kind of left clicks and that pinpoint accuracy for the headshots. That's given us some great plays.
And that's actually, we've highlighted some of the changes, but we also need to take a look at some of the reactionary stuff as well. So we were mentioning heroes that have fallen out of the meta recently. In particular, Pharah and Soldier 76, significantly less played than they were before. Not because there was any particular buff or particular nerf to those heroes, but simply because the heroes that are actually doing really well in the current meta are ones that effectively counter them. So going into the first map here, it means there are lots of hero changes, even though there weren't that many added to the game so far.
It is our second semi-final here for the North American Overwatch Open. The winner of this will meet Envious in the grand final. Our first map of the best of three is Hollywood. Dan, John, enjoy.
All right, well, the first question I have is, are we going to see that Junkrat on the first points? Is that going to be something we can look forward to watching? Because we saw some great work from Seagull yesterday with it.
50-50. On Dorado, more likely. Hollywood, it's a little bit of a personal flavor pick, I would suggest. We are about to begin, though, and it doesn't look like there's one on the field yet, but there may well be one on the other side. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. JKW is going to be playing Reinhardt. He's followed up with Harblue. Harblue is excellent, by the way, on Roadhogs. I'll be looking forward to that. Torque on McCree. Joe on Lucio. Nicholas on Reaper. And finally, Shake is going to be playing Zenyatta.
And as you said, Harblue on Roadhog, he was the playmaker actually on this map that we saw yesterday. So really looking forward to some of the hooks there. It was actually him playing offensively on Hollywood, which was allowed his team to basically crush the defense. Here, of course, it's the role reversal in that sense. We see him on the defense here, and the push will come in here. Cloud9 smashing his TSM. TSM looking to try to hold this one off. So far, they're actually sticking together behind Reinhardt's shield, so they're actually looking like a pretty solid hold. They're going to beat back the push. Cloud9 not liking the engagement. Oh, that's a great hook found onto the Genji. Shore4 is going to get pulled in, and he will be on 4.
So Shore4 is a player to watch in the current meta. He plays an awful lot of Genji, so we wait and see if he's able to combine well with Adam, who used to play Mercy, by the way, for Cloud9 here. But at the moment, the TSM defense has been very traditional, very standard. Get behind the shield, focus, wait for an opportunity. As they collapse, come at your opponent from all sides, reset them, rinse and repeat.
All the rinse to repeat, and we're going to get the Dragon Blade unsheathed there. Let's see how much damage it's going to be able to do here as we get all the players coming in, but Harblue looking to get in there with the hook very shortly as he just gets into the mix. He's got, of course, a lot of health extra thanks to the sound barrier, but he has no supports, and it's going to be a lot of damage coming in from Reaver on McCree. And how will this go for Cloud9? Now they get some key kills, and they are following up, but there's still some players there for TSM fighting back.
Yeah, just a couple, though. The objective is now getting taken by Cloud9. Kai as well providing an awful lot of longevity on D.Va. And D.Va is going to be particularly important going into the second point here, purely due to the verticality of the middle of Hollywood. So we'll be looking to see Kai try his best to fly on up and take that top position and make sure he doesn't relinquish.
And we did see a lot of awesome plays here from Anox, actually, one of the teams that were in the grand finals on the high grounds here. And we can see already Torque just getting some good shots in there with McCree on the mid-ranges. Very important to get the damage to try to defeat this setup up top. And we can see all the barriers to self-destruct coming in as well. Cloud9 doing an amazing job, actually, to clear it out. This is a big problem again for TSM.
I do not like what TSM did there. They actually came and allowed Cloud9 to get the rooftops early. We actually saw a couple of very brief shots of Kai long before the payload got there. And what that meant is TSM were contesting the high ground when Cloud9 already had it. There was no need to do that. They should have just held the high ground long before they got there. So I feel like that's given them half a free team wipe. And I'm not 100% certain why that was the case there with TSM.
That payload is moving pretty rapidly now there for the Cloud9 side as they got 2 players on top of it, and they are holding the high ground with the rest of the team. They're ready to drop on top as now we see TSM lured into the payload. The bait has been set, the trap is sprung, and the push comes down from the rooftops as Cloud9 try to get the damage in here, but it's a fairly even exchange as Cloud9 are struggling to hold on to this point, and it's Nicholas just running in and out with that Reaper that's doing a lot of work here to keep TSM in control.
This is much, much better from TSM. They have 4 ultimates available now as well. They recognize that the payload has moved. They need to be a little bit careful with how they're going to be able to take control of the top. And they force Cloud9 effectively to escort the payload from the ground up. And I really like that from TSM. Using D.Va to great effect as well. Nice Winston bubble to contain D.Va's ultimate too.
Yeah, and that actually forced a bit of a split there also for Cloud9, so now they're going to fight not an ideal situation, and there comes the Death Blossom, but there is not the proper support for that. It won't do all that much damage, and we've got now Debit going for the Primal Rage, just knocking players around, and once again TSM are definitely looking like they might be struggling here. Cloud9 going for a good push.
Oh, and Debit cornering and taking out Torque there. Really well played by him. In fact, he was right next to a health pack, so pretty critical that he did that sooner rather than later. And this is a much, much nicer retake. I'm curious to find out which TSM players will end up going up top to grab oversight duty here. I wonder if it's going to be Harblu, who's now, by the way, playing on D.Va, flying up top to make sure they can use the defensive matrix to stop anyone raining damage down.
And speaking of damage and defensive matrix, we will get the self-destruct there from KaiKai, and that is going to be able to take down a couple players there. So TSM, I mean, they were looking really good. I mean, it was a very back-and-forth series of engagements and very heavy brawl-type gameplay, but now Cloud9 are pushing that payload all the way, and it's going to be more chaos now as they try to push forwards and not allow TSM to set up any good defense there to keep that payload moving.
Reaver getting a double kill and Shore4 chiming in as well. Cloud9 doing a great job of just moving further and further forward. The payload now entering the building. They moved so far forward, actually. I don't think anyone was pushing it for a very brief period of time. But now they are going around the last dogleg. It looks like TSM are setting up at the last. It's a little dangerous because if they get team wiped, the payload might accidentally make it all the way in a few seconds. But if they hold Cloud9 here, it's a very long way for them to run back.
Yeah, I feel like right now TSM are not going to get the best possible engagements. Cloud9 have taken up so much space. Although that said, TSM deciding to just not allow them to play the game, pushing forwards, trying to take the point back, or the payload rather, as the play comes in. We get the Death Blossom coming in there from Nicholas to really send Cloud9 running, but they're going to come straight back in.
And Nicholas trying to find Shore4. It took him a little while, but he did get there in the end with the high noon coming out from Reaver as well, trying to provide just a little bit of cover. Manages to get only one kill, but with the support from KaiKai there, picking up a kill as well, it's going to be enough to start pushing TSM back. Currently 3 versus 6. They just need to stall out the payload, but they're a little bit too far away, and this might mean that Cloud9 come in and complete straight away. Boom.
Pretty much there, and just have to kill the last few players. So making this a little bit awkward, actually.
That was critical.
You claim this, then maybe there's some hope as we've got Nicholas going back in there with the Tracer, but no, denied. Cloud9 will take it, and that was fairly smooth.
It could have ended up being critical. Shake actually got there with basically half a Misa to go, and I was a little bit worried that if they bought enough time for JKW and everyone else to collapse in as well, that could add an entire minute or something to the time. As it stands, I believe it's roughly at the 6-minute and 30-second mark. We'll be getting that up on our screens as we have the reciprocal push coming in just a moment. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the previous game. That D.Va ult coming in, an absolutely excellent containment on the bubble there, preventing that doing any extra damage. And then Nicholas going ham towards the end as well.
And I love how much space they took in towards the last final stretch, just really being very, very aggressive. As you said, there was spots where I'm not sure if the payload was even moving, and they didn't have the maximum amount of people on it to keep it going full speed, just to make sure that they could just keep the pressure up. And that was very disruptive, and they netted a lot of extra distance because of that. And as you can see on your screen, time to beat 6:26.
Stop it, JKW. You're not playing Bastion. Go away. No. Maybe you are, but no, I don't think so.
Surely
KaiKai is on Symmetra, though, which is going to be fun. And Adam, oh my goodness, we have all of the old meta coming back. Reaver is playing Junkrat, Adam is on Mercy, and KaiKai is on Symmetra. This is going to be delicious.
I'm not sure what to make of this. This will be very, very, very fun indeed to see how this plays out. And Shore4 on the McCree there for Cloud9. And we haven't really seen Symmetra used to a great effect so far. The one time that we did see her, a portal went up, but I don't think anybody went through the portal because it was pretty much a wipe of his team.
Oh yeah, it was too slow, unfortunately. But there are plenty of places on Hollywood for Symmetra to put some really sneaky turrets down. You can get a lot of good, quick charge, but the catch is the portal is most useful on the first point. That, to me, tells me that Cloud9 are looking to try and go for a full hold here. So Junkrat will be responsible for the covering fire, for laying down the damage. KaiKai will just try and get the charge up as quickly as possible, and if Symmetra gets a turret up, then Cloud9 will be in a significantly stronger position to full hold, and that's basically their goal here.
So a lot of pieces there, fragile pieces potentially to Cloud9's play, but if they're able to pull it off with some good execution, that's going to be fantastic to watch for. Now we have the play coming in onto their defense initially. This is the hardest point for them. Oh, that's a fantastic hook there from Harblu. Again, he was so pivotal last time we saw him on this map on Hollywood, and again, he's going to be picking somebody off, and he's just picking them to pieces right now, getting his team in through the side.
KaiKai up to 95%, but is it going to be a little bit too late? Harblu basically on the point already. Another fantastic hook onto Zenyatta, but KaiKai is going to go down before Torque takes him out. KaiKai now has the teleporter up, but who's coming through it? We need to see the rest of the team pop down, and unfortunately, the point is almost there, and Symmetra, that's going to get reset.
So we don't get to see Cloud9 and them executing that plan. We did highlight it as, you know, fragile in some spots, but really it was the brilliant hooks. That initiation there was fantastic.
Harblu is just a super sick Roadhog player, man. And I think Kai was possibly within 10 seconds even of making that work, because 4 players were dead. If they're able to get through the teleporter and they can get to the point in time to stop it from being captured, then all of a sudden that would have looked like an amazing strategy. But they just about didn't get it, and Adam being the first to go to the hook didn't help as well.
Ooh, and that's a really big problem right now, because Talk is going to take down Shorefall before anything even happens, and potentially there is a res available that we'll have to see if that will come into play here, as multiple players for Cloud9 are going down. It would be a nice spot for a big res to see if anything comes to fruition. There looks like actually Mercy is dead before any reses can happen, so Cloud9 get wiped out.
Yeah, and that, I'm really not sure now about Adam using that Mercy res. Unfortunately, it more or less brought back Debit, but I didn't really see that come to great effect. They ended up playing 6v5 twice, and all it takes for TSM to sort of hold themselves there is for Shake to come out with the Transcendence, and then it's like you can revive whoever you want. We're busy getting ourselves together, and we're more or less invulnerable. Another big team fight coming out. JKW going very, very quickly to Shorefall here, who also gets Reaver alongside. And, ooh, no, we have a disconnect from the game. That's actually going to be huge. One of Cloud9's members has gone.
Oh dear, that is problematic, and things are going so well here for TSM. Going to see how that plays out as the point is going to be taken, and the final stretch will be available now to the TSM side, who've had actually somewhat of a smooth time themselves, and they're looking like they're making very good time indeed to actually be able to go for the full completion, as did Cloud9. So have to see how this actually plays out. Maybe we can get an update from production as to how this is going to go actually with that disconnect.
Yeah, this is very awkward. We have to keep going. I mean, so much of the map has been played, and that's really unfortunate for them. They're going to try and keep pushing forward, and will they be able to hold? I don't know. TSM at the moment really making it a massive fight. Debit using Primal Rage to try and stop that payload as far down as possible, because they need distance to be able to buy themselves time, but the payload is still moving.
It is indeed moving. Looks like it's going to be making it to the point very shortly. Nice stuff there from Talk, finding himself a bunch of kills there to finish off Cloud9. We do get the reconnect, but it's too little too late potentially, unless this self-destruct will push everybody off, but it's going to be blocked by the car and the shield of Reinhardt, and that will be that TSM with a cleanup, and that's very unfortunate with the disconnect, because we don't know how it would have gone otherwise.
Yep, so Grego, the support player on Lucio, that was really unfortunate. At the same time, unfortunately, that actually allowed them to get a ridiculously quick time. I don't remember the last time we saw what was effectively a 3-minute 34-second push on Hollywood. It's a pity it came on unfortunate circumstances, but I think they were en route to beating the time anyway. We're never really going to know for sure, but I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, and you can see how awesome it was there for the couple initial hooks there. Harblu actually hitting 3 hooks on the initial push, which is, I mean, you can't really ask for much more than that, because I think he killed 3 of the squishies immediately, basically. So kind of awkward to deal with that. But again, Harblu already showed us last time he played this map, he's going to get in there and he's going to hit some hooks and he's going to find good opportunities, even if you make it hard for him.
Yeah, exactly right. So we're going to be going into map number 2 very, very shortly here between TSM and Cloud9. And of course, the winner of this semi-final will go on to face Envious in the grand final. At the moment, TSM setting a blistering pace on Hollywood. They're going to be able to take the victory there to go 1-0 up. We're going to a short break. When we come back, we'll see map number 2.